Hello everyone and welcome to the 8th generation of the Volkswagen Golf GTI. So more than 40 years ago, the Golf GTI basically created that hot hatchback segment where it combined the practicality and performance in an attractive package and also at an affordable pricing. I mean, no other car has a greater heritage than this Golf. In today's video, let's find out everything in detail about this quintessential hot hatchback which has new looks. It has a new interior, it's got updated tech, and it's also an attractive car to look at. Before we move forward, please consider subscribing to my channel by clicking that subscription button, and also make sure to press that bell icon so that you never miss any video updates from my channel. So on this 8th generation of the Golf GTI, you would notice that the front end has had a major revamp. And if we start out from the center of this grille out here, so you get this GTI badging out here with this red stripe, and at the bottom there is this light bar underneath that stripe that illuminates at night. So this Golf GTI, the 8th generation, is like a light fest because there are lots of lights. I'm going to be coming to that too. So it continues from one end of the headlight, goes onto the center and onto the other end. So at night, yeah, it's like a whole bar that illuminates. And at the bottom you would notice this honeycomb structure which is made out of normal plastic. I'm a little confused as to how it should be, because I feel like this, if it was given in the glossy plastic, it would have looked rather nicer. I don't know, let me know in the comment section below if this should have been glossy, because this is just the normal plastic. And around that you would notice that there are fog lights, 5 of them. These are LED fog lights, and on the other end too. And there is also this plastic trim that continues from one end and goes to the other end. At the bottom there is this plastic splitter as well, and also there is the new VW design badging with the black sort of plastic trim around it. And these are LED headlight cluster. They also have the DRLs inside them on top, and also these DRLs convert into turn signals. And these headlights also have the cornering lights, and they are also dynamic, so they would block the light onto the oncoming traffic, so the driver on the opposite end isn't distracted due to the glare from your headlights. So yeah, they do all the sort of clever things. So the particular model that I am reviewing has some optional extras, and it's actually called the P2 package. So there is a P1 package and then there is a P2 package, so you can consider as two different models. So this is the top spec one, and on this one you get the upgraded 19-inch alloy rims, and inside you would find these huge brake calipers out here in the red color, and also the GTI badging in the red one really looks nice on the side, and then the side mirrors are power foldable, they are power adjustable, they also have the blind spot warning inside them. There is also an LED turning light that has been incorporated in this side mirror. At the bottom you would find again normal plastic trim which has been given at the bottom so as to protect your underside and the side of the body. And these doors are smart keyless entry door handles. There are also projection lights in these side mirrors, and they have this cool sort of design. There is also this Volkswagen badging which has been given, really nice and neat touches that they have given all around inside the car and also outside the car. And on the sides is the usual Golf GTI design that you are used to seeing. So this new Golf GTI sits 15 millimeters lower than the standard Golf GTI, and in the back you get the full set of LED tail light cluster, which is the IQ lights, which has been inscribed on the side of these tail lights. And basically it just means that it's the matrix headlight and the tail light cluster, and then they are made out of like hundreds of clever LEDs that have been packed inside this headlight and the tail light cluster. So there's also a sequential turning light in this tail light cluster as well. There's also a small bit of spoiler with a bit of an angle out here. At the bottom you would notice this normal plastic trim that it goes from one end to the other underneath the main colored bumper, and twin exhaust tips which are chrome tips on both the sides. And it actually sounds quite sweet, the exhaust note. Actually, have a listen to this exhaust note. Now when it comes to the rear visibility, it's pretty decent from this Golf GTI. There are some pillars on both the ends, but it's not really going to hinder the visibility that way. In order to open the boot out here, so you get the GTI badging at the bottom again, which is like the red one. On top of that, you would find the VW logo, and you have to press that logo, that badge, and when you open, in this current setting, you can put 381 liters of luggage in the back, which is decent, I would say, because it's not too bad. And also there's not much of a lip out here, and then there are also scruff plates out here, and at the bottom you would get a spare wheel which you can use for the temporary purpose. There's also this boot separator, but that boot separator can be removed, so it's just quite easy. You can just remove and give it a tap, and it just sits at the bottom, although it will just consume a little bit of space, but nonetheless it just fits in the back, and that is one good thing. There are also boot lights on the sides, and also there is a 12-volt power socket, so you can clean your boot and everything. There are also tying points out here, so you can tie your luggage and everything. And the rear seats can be folded in a ratio of 60:40. In the middle seat, you can also open like a gate which folds down, so you can load some longer objects into the back and then through and then still utilize both these seats. But if not, then you can drop both these seats down using the levers given out here. So let me put it down, and this one, and when you put it down, it's a very flat area, and all to do with the fact that the boot floor can be adjusted, so you can remove it and also lower it, and if you want to make it as flat like what you see right now, you can do that as well. And in this current setting, you can put 1233 liters of luggage, and because it's pretty much flat, and also the boot opening is that way, is nice and big, and it's also pretty low, so you can put your luggage in and out quite easily. So on the inside, there has been a completely redesigned interiors, and also a lot more tech changes inside, and the prominent one being the buttonless approach inside this cabin. So there are buttons, but those are not the physical dials and knobs, but instead you have the haptic feedback touch buttons and the sliders and all of that. I'm going to come to that, but let me start with the basic material quality out here. So on the dashboard you get soft touch, and on the door cards you get the soft touch, but that is only at the eye level. But once you go below that, this is like normal plastic. This is normal plastic on the sides, and even on the bottom of the door cards there is like normal plastic, and then there is piano black glossy plastic around these infotainment screens and the driver's display. And on the steering wheel also you have a lot of glossy plastic which has been given. I'm going to come to that as well. And in general, the dashboard design has been, if you see the infotainment screen and the driver's display and the controls at the bottom, all are inclined towards the driver, so that it's more easier to use while driving. So that is something they've given importance to. And also there is this the honeycomb structured design out here, which is like a plastic trim, and also it looks like the brushed aluminum look on top of it. So yeah, that has been given on side of the dashboard. At the bottom you would find the vents. And when it comes to the driver's display, you get a 10.3 inch colorful display, and it's got two dials on both the sides, and in the center you get the rev counter and also the digital speedometer. This thing, the dials on both the sides and even the center, that also has this honeycomb design in the background, but that gets a little distracting and a little confusing to see the information. So yeah, and when it comes to the actual usage, so there are buttons given on the steering wheel on the right side, using which you can control all the information that you see on the screen. And these buttons which are given are also touch buttons, and they also have the haptic feedback. So if you want to change the screen on your left side, you press that left button, and then there are a lot of options like your consumption, average consumption, your selector, and the fuel gauge, the assist systems, operating, navigation, speed, power, and the charge pressure. So you can set up those dials on one side, and on the right side, when you press it, you can pretty much get all the same options, and also more options like your time, your acceleration. You can time all of these things. settings, and then your charge pressure, your G meter, your compass, your destination info. Then there is settings, and if you prefer no display, then you can leave that too, and also the consumption and average consumption, so you can switch that too. And the center dial can also be changed, so you just have to press the down arrows, and then you can select the 3/4 selector, lever display, or the speed or the lap timer, so you can have it right in the center, and or you can just close and have nothing, and that is your entire screen. But the thing what I found the most while driving also is there is a lot of accidental touch that this steering wheel is prone to, and even these touch buttons which have been given out here, the air conditioning and all, I'm going to come to that as well. For example, there's this heated steering wheel. I've hit it like couple of times, and also in general, to get used to it takes a little while, because they are obviously not the physical buttons, so you have to still look down at it and then press these buttons. Now when it comes to this steering wheel is a leather covered, and also this driver's display has different sort of views that you can change. So there's a view button given on the steering wheel, so when you press that, you can go to a big view out here where you can just see all the information in the center, and the dials become now square, and then when you change it, you can see another different type of display. Then there is one more type of display where you will see just the maps and the two dials on both the sides, and the next one is again where you see the assist systems in front of you, and then you can come to the standard display if you want to. So when it comes to the steering wheel, this is a really sporty steering wheel with the flat bottom, and it's a leather covered steering wheel with the perforated support where you're going to be holding the steering wheel, and nice bit of thumb support also, very chunky one. And there's also the GTI badging with the red accent around it at the bottom, and the VW logo in the center. And on the right side, as I mentioned, on top you would find the buttons for your driver's display that you can change, and at the bottom there is the infotainment controls, which is also the slidable one, and also you can press it also, and it's also got the haptic feedback. And on the left side you would find the buttons for your adaptive cruise control, so all the buttons are given out here, and also the limiter option, so there is a speed limiter also, and adaptive cruise control, you can choose whatever you want to. And at the bottom there is the volume control, which is again slidable, or you can press it also to control the volume. And on the left side you would also find the controls for your lights, and they are also touch buttons. So all the buttons that you see are touch buttons, and the only physical thing that is available are these turn signals and also the wiper sticks on both the sides. So those are the physical ones, and there are also paddle shifters given in the back of the steering wheel, which are mounted on the steering wheel, so they move around. But I wish they were a little longer, because that would have been easier while you are driving. And this steering wheel is manually adjustable, which is your tilt and the telescopic, so you can find the right position for yourself. When it comes to the air conditioning controls, now there are buttons given on the underneath just the infotainment screen, the touch buttons actually. So these touch buttons actually help you to control just the temperature, and also the temperature on the other side for the passenger. But if you want to go deep into the actual climate control system, then there are buttons given at the bottom for your menu, your mode, and the climate and the assist. So when you press that climate button, you go into the climate control systems, where you will find the smart climate, where they've just basically reduced the options, and the essential options are only given on your screen, like cool my feet, or warm my hands, or warm my feet, and all these options. And at the bottom you can change the temperature and everything. And on either sides you would find the controls for your ventilated seat and the heated seat options, which have been given on this Golf GTI. And there is also the classic climate. If you like seeing that screen, then there is that also option given, where you will find full options out here, with which you can control the air conditioning control. And then there is the air care option, which removes the pollen and dust from inside the car. And on this Golf GTI you get tri-zone climate control system, so 2 in the front for the driver and the passenger and 1 for the rear passenger. And not just that, you can control the rear air conditioning from this screen as well. The whole point is, like, it's a little fiddly, all these buttonless approach, because you still have to press the climate button and then access the climate controls from here. And all the while the climate, the small, temperature and information about your cooled seats are all on your left hand side of the infotainment screen. So they are always there in front of your eyes, so you can have a quick look while driving. But yeah, if you want to go and change it, then you have to press the climate button, and then you can only change the temperature using these haptic buttons which have been given. Now when it comes to this infotainment screen, this is a 10-inch sharp, colorful and a crisp display which has been mounted on this dashboard, and it's also got the piano black plastic surround around it. And the infotainment screen has gesture control. Yes, that's for the first time Golf GTI has a gesture control screen, so you can swipe and you can control all the menu options. And whenever you are inside the radio, you can change the channels using the swipe and everything. So yeah, lots of functions that you can do with the swiping options. And when you start with the menu options on your main screen, you would find the options for your navigation, your media, your vehicle and the radio media at the bottom. You can change all these widgets also on the main screen by long pressing that option, and then you can change it with different options. So let's say if I want the driving data, you can just go there and do the driving data after that. When you go to the main menu option, which you have to swipe on your right, and you will find the options for your radio, the media, and in the connectivity options you can connect to this infotainment system using the Bluetooth, the USB, and also there is wireless, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And then there is also the navigation system which has been given, and then you can basically just get around with the way to use this navigation system. Big bright on your screen. It's a little laggy to my liking, yeah, slight bit of lag, but otherwise it's quite alright. But nonetheless, when you're going to be connecting the Android Auto and the Apple CarPlay, you will have everything in one single interface, even your Google Maps and everything. And then there is also the background option, in which you can change the light options on this Golf GTI. So there are lights on the door cards, the ones which you see in the driver's display, your main infotainment screen. There are lights underneath in the footwell, even in the center console. Everywhere these lights can be changed from here, and you can also have 2-tone color combination, 3-tone color combination, whatever you want. You can change the light combination from here. And then there is the more detailed options inside the vehicle option. When you go in, there are like a lot of options that you can see. Basically your status of the vehicle, in which you will find the start stop feature. So the start stop feature can only be accessed from here, so you have to go in through these 2-3 layers of menu and then press the start stop button and deactivate that. And then there is also the data, where it will show you the different data, like your the range, the economy of your car since start, long term when you refueled it. And then there is the vehicle option on top, which is actually a really cool thing, because it's got the 3D car on it, and then it's got the options. When you click them, you can individually access them, and then you can turn around the car and it gives you more options. And then you can go inside the interior option also, and that's where you will also find the cockpit, the interior lights, the seat option, and also the heads up display. So on this Golf GTI you get a heads up display, but there are 2 different color tones to that. So there is a standard and then there is a snow color. So the snow color is the blue one and the standard is the white one. So you can change all the heads up display option from this screen basically. So you have to go again into like 2-3 layers inside, and then you can change the heads up display option. But in terms of the variety of information on the heads up display, you get the speed and you also get the different warnings, the distance warning on your heads up display. And continuing with our infotainment screen, then there is the sound option. Now in terms of the sound, you get 9-speaker Harman Kardon surround sound system. It sounds really incredible, and there are different ways to change all the sound settings out here. And then there is a help option, and then you can slide more and go to the other end, where you will see a vehicle status warning and the vehicle status and also the tire information. And then you can go to more detailed settings settings option in which you can see the screen, time, date, and you can change all the units that you see out here, every single unit that you want to, so you can change that from here. So that is pretty much the entire usage of this infotainment screen. There is like a main menu button on the left side, so when you press that, like just on your tablet, you can come onto the main menu option wherever you are in, and there is also a drop down menu option in which you can see your backgrounds, your audio, quick options. So yeah, in terms of the usage, which is why it takes a little while to understand how the whole system works, but once you get used to, you will eventually get used to how the whole infotainment system works. But yeah, nonetheless, you still have to put the effort, and then the lack of physical buttons makes the experience a little more difficult in understanding the system. There is also this volume slider button which has been given, so you can either press it or you can even slide it to control the volume. And then there is also the power button given on the left side. When you long press it, you will see the digital clock, and then there are different clock options, like designs that you want to see on your infotainment screen. So yeah, that way the whole operation is just combined into this single infotainment screen. When it comes to the storage, even the Golf GTI does very well in terms of the storage. So big door cards with a huge storage in which you can put easy 1.5 liter worth of bottle, and there is some more storage on the sides, and they have big opening, and the lining is also, they put like a carpet lining inside the door bins out here, and there is another slot out here in which you can put your phones or keys or anything. And there is also another layer where there is golf inscription in the center, and in the center console this is, and where you can put your phones. And there is also this cover which leads you to the wireless charging, and you can leave your phone in there while your phone is wirelessly charging, and then cover that, and on top of that you can put another phone. And there is also this cup holder out here which is a foldable cup holder. So there is a button given, so when you press that button, it opens up that one cup holder, and if you don't want to use it, you can utilize it to just store your phones and wallets. And there is behind another not a round one, but a little squarish cup holder which is flexible one. And there is also this center armrest, small one, again you can put your phones or wallets, and it's also a slidable one. But the problem is, when you slide, it just covers one of your cup holders. So yeah, you really have to make some choices out here. And there's also this glove box out here, nice and big. Yeah, you can put a lot of stuff in there. And again, there is driver side bin as well, where you can store a lot of things. So yeah, in terms of the storage, it's pretty good. And even in the rear door cards, you get quite big bins out there in which you can easily put 1 liter worth of bottle and some more storage. And there are also cup holders in the back, which I'm going to be coming on later on. When it comes to the charging, you have 2 USB ports which are given underneath the main infotainment screen, which are type C ports. And then there is also a wireless charger. There is also a 12 volt power socket which has been given next to the cup holders. There are also 2 USB type C ports which are given for the rear passengers. Now on this Golf GTI, you will find a normal sunroof, and for that also there is a slider button which has been given. So even that has turned into a slider button, but it's a very decently sized sunroof which has been given, and in order to close it, again you have to slide it. And next to that, you will also find a button for SOS. So it's got an e-call system which is very specific to UAE market. So when you press that, you can call for some help whenever you want to. When it comes to the other buttons which are given underneath the infotainment screen, there are these assist buttons. So when you go to that, you can change the different safety systems out here, again 3D systems which will show on your infotainment screen. And then there is the climate button which I mentioned. There's also the menu option, the P menu option, which is your parking menu, so you can change the parking settings. And also there is a park assist. So this Golf GTI has become smart and it can park itself too. And there are also the mode button, which is your driving mode. So they have also moved out here, and they are also touch buttons. And then you have to change from your screen, again 2 layers, so you have to go inside, and then you will find different options like your eco, comfort, sport, and the individual. Where individual, you can customize pretty much every single thing, like your steering, your drive, the engine sound, the suspension setup and the air conditioning. So yeah, you can change all of that and you can customize that individual option. Now when it comes to these seats, these are leather seats, they are perforated seats, and they are also the heated and the cooled seats, and they are really good sporty seats because they have nice bit of support on the sides, and even at the bottom one you will have that side support. So yeah, they are like the real sporty ones. And the back piece is a single one, so there is no sliding headrest or anything, and they also have this red accent on them, like yeah, it goes back to that heritage style of that the one of the first Golf which you would get. The driver side seat is 8-way electronically adjustable, so yeah, and 2-way lumbar control, which is again electronically adjustable, while the passenger seat is just manually adjustable. On this Golf GTI, instead of the round shifter, you get a very small and a delicate gear shifter. This 8th generation of the Golf GTI has grown by 0.6 inches, but that essentially means that there is a little bit more space to arrange inside the cabin. Now these seats are in my driving position, and there is decent amount of leg room, and also the headroom is quite decent, although someone above 6 feet may start brushing their heads against the ceiling, but nonetheless there is very good space that there is. And also these seats are in a very decent position, I would say, because when you sit inside there is not much of an angle that you see, and also you can slide your feet underneath the seat. There is enough of room to stretch your legs during the longer journeys, and even the center seat is quite flat, and if you notice there is slight bit of tunnel out here, but not too much. So when you sit in the middle, yeah, these seats, because they are flat, you can still sit, and there is still ample of headroom out here. But yeah, someone about 6 feet will start brushing. But yeah, for the long journeys, I don't know if it will be comfortable, but yeah, for short durations 3 people can easily sit here in the back, but for 4 people this is just perfect, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And there is also the handrest, which has been given out here with 3 cup holders, one smaller one in the center, and then 2 cup holders. But the good thing is that these cup holders are in the center, but the handrest is pretty big that way, so you can still rest your hands while the drinks are put out here and this thing is used. And you can even open this center compartment to load some longer items if there is no passenger or cup holder being used. So yeah, or you can access the boot from here as well if you want to get something. And the quality of the door cards is normal plastic now instead of the soft touch plastics, and there is also huge door bins, which I had mentioned. You can put easy 1 liter or even I think 1.5 liter worth of bottle, and little more storage. You also get the climate control system out here. You can just control the temperature, that's about it, not the fan speed, and then dual vents which are given out here. So the previous generation of the Golf GTI used to have a 2-liter turbocharged engine that produced 228 horsepower. That same engine has been carried forward onto this 8th generation of the Golf GTI, and on this one you get that same 2-liter turbocharged engine, but now it produces 245 horsepower and 370 Newton meters of torque, and it is mated to a 7-speed DSG dual clutch automatic gearbox, and that is a phenomenal thing. What a shift that you will find from that one. But let's dive down deeper. And this is a front wheel drive car. There is an electronic limited slip differential for the front axle, and when this Golf GTI is in the comfort mode, it's really comfortable. I mean, there are just few small bumps that you would feel, but otherwise there's literally a very sober family hatchback that you will experience. But the moment you put this into the sport mode or the individual mode, let me put it in the individual because everything has been dialed down now to the sportiest setting, and now when I press it, becomes like a rocket. It unleashes 245 of those horses. You would never think that this car is hiding this much of horsepower, but put it into sport mode and oh, it just grips so well. It just goes so well. It's like a dart, you know, it's so sharp, and there is a marked improvement also in terms of the handling, in terms of how it, you know, handles those bumps. But in this sporty setting, you also start to feel a lot of those bumps, but that engine is such a sweet sounding one and such a responsive one. And let me and when you change the gear shifts, whoa, you just start adding those digits up in terms of the speed. Whoa, that just picks up speed so well, and the grip in the corners, oh, it just doesn't give up. I mean, you would give up, but it wouldn't give up for sure. And this is a very sandy piece of, you know, road that I am on, and it still grips very well, and all thanks to a lot of other clever tech, which is the adaptive chassis control which you have on this one, and also the adaptive suspensions, which is why it just changes its personality in like a flick of that, you know, switch, you know, to that sport mode, and it just changes. Everything stiffens up, the steering becomes responsive, and it's got a good amount of weight to it, like really good weight. And I know for the fact that, you know, I can take that corner at a reasonably higher speed than I'm usually used to, so takes a little while. But yeah, there is no, you know, four-wheel steering, there is no rear wheel drive, just that front wheel drive is just doing all of that. It just wouldn't give up because the dynamics are so well, you know, computed inside. Oh, that slip differential makes sure that there is no grip loss at all in any case, so you can take the corners at any speed and it will just, and even though there is a 19-inch rim, there is still not, you know, a lot of vibrations or anything, because you can see I'm still like, you know, pretty decent like. And bear in mind, there is no roll when you go into any corner, so that is like, you know, your engine and the gearbox, like it is terrifyingly quick. It's phenomenal how this thing works. Like, whoa, I'm trying to get my head around the fact that this thing is a small hatchback and it can go so quick. No wonder it's called a hot hatchback. And when it comes to the steering, it's so pointy, it's like a dart, you know. I know what is going on. There's good amount of feedback, really good in fact, the feedback from the steering wheel. I know I can just turn, and it really turns very well because there are these air suspensions, so they also, you know, make sure that, you know, the steering ability has been improved because of that, and every single detail that has been added, you can feel it. By the way, that adaptive suspensions are an optional upgrade on this one. And when you come to the suspension, again, that is also gives you literally no roll. I'm kind of sliding around, but not that much. So let me show you a slalom. So to show you, like, literally there is no, oh my god, I'm just, everything is just going around. But yeah, this thing is just not giving up. Give up, it's not. Whoa, and this is like at a fair speed that I am doing this slalom, but it still wouldn't do that. Now when it comes to the brakes, you get 4 disc brakes with those huge calipers which you saw. So let me do an emergency stop from 0 to 100. And you also get the emergency stop signals that come up. So yeah, the brake pedal is really good, really good. Like, you know, it's got that gradual progress, it's got good amount of weight to it. So a lot of things have been carried forward from the 7th generation of the Golf, but they have been ever so slightly tweaked and improved. Oh, that angry roar from that exhaust. So it's not that prevalent, you know, that in terms of the exhaust noise, but you can occasionally hear some pops and bangs, like you hear go on a lower gear, and then yeah, you would hear that occasional, you know, pops and bangs, but not that much that you would find in the other hot hatches. But nonetheless, there is this precision which you get, and not the pops and bangs, but I would just take the precision in that case. So really good. I am so confident tackling these corners. I keep mentioning because yeah, you really don't know how capable this machine is. What a machine! And when it now comes to the noise and the vibrations, again, really well controlled, because put this thing into comfortable, everything softens down, everything is quiet, nothing, no noise from outside, there's no wind whooshing, there is no tire noise, even though it's a 19-inch rims that you get, but still everything very calm and sober. So yeah, that's a really good thing. And even in terms of the build quality, there is no vibration, there is no rattling at all in this, inside the cockpit or anywhere from, outside. So yeah, very well done in terms of, the overall quality. This engine would deliver efficiency of anywhere between 9.5 to 10 kilometers per liter. You can even go up to 11 kilometers during a longer journey. And if you are gonna be honing around a little bit, then yeah, expect it to be around 6.5 to 7 kilometers per liter. Now, when it comes to the safety systems, let me put this again into the sport mode. Yeah, that's the right mode to be when you have an empty road. So when it comes to the safety systems, you will find standard safety systems like 2 front airbags for the driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passenger, 2 curtain airbags for the driver and the passenger, and the side airbags are also for the rear passengers. Yes, that's also has been given. And there are also child isofix points in both the rear seats, and there is also a single camera reversing system with parking sensors around. But the output from that is quite decent, I would say. It's not too bad, and honestly, I really don't care about the output from that camera, because yeah, all that matters is this. It's not about those cameras and all that. Keep your tech aside, because all this car is about is enjoying it. And yeah, there is also the traction control system, there's vehicle stability, there's ABS, there is the emergency stop signal. So all of those safety systems are all part of this, the 8th generation of the Golf GTI. Now, when it comes to the pricing, the base model of this Golf GTI starts with 137,000 dirhams, and this top spec, which I am driving currently, is 158,031 dirhams. For 158,000 dirhams, you get a car that is so ready. I mean, literally, at a flick of a mode, it can change its character from a comfortable hatchback to a really, really hot hatchback. Like yeah, it's just so fascinating that cars these days can change their personality in a flick of a switch. Like, everything becomes hard, the chassis is brilliantly balanced. For 158,000, this is a really good car. And I know it's not that powerful compared to the other hot hatches, but trust me, sometimes it's not more about like a lot of power, but it's more to do that how it delivers the power. And this is really like a Swiss knife. Anyways, I think the Golf GTI is more like a 911, so the whole idea is that the Volkswagen isn't there to change the game, it's just there to ever so slightly tweak their act, that's it. And this has been a better car when you compare it to the 7th generation. So yes, there is a marked improvement. And when it comes to, if you have to put this in your list, you should definitely consider this car when you are trying to buy a family hatchback and / hot hatchback. Anyways, because this is a really good looking car. It's advanced, it's got the posh interiors. Yeah, there is like clever bit of tech inside, although it's a little fiddly one. I hope they figured that one out. And the brilliant performance that you get from the Golf badge, which you are going to be buying it for. So yeah, I mean, this is still one of the best hot hatches that you will find. That is pretty much it for this video. Give this video a thumbs up, and thank you for watching this video. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here, and if you want to watch more videos, then click here. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye and take care.